You know when a car swerves into your lane and your heart just slams against your ribs, your hands get sweaty? It makes complete sense, right? You are in danger.
Right, your body is just doing what it's built to do. It sounds the alarm so you can jump out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. But then there is this other thing that happens. And I think almost everyone goes through this in their 20s.
Mhm.
You are sitting on your couch. You are totally safe. You just open up a blank resume on your laptop.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the blank white screen.
Right? Or you just casually think about looking at a job board for a new field. And suddenly, you get that exact same physical panic. Your heart is hammering, you are sweating, and you haven't even typed a single word yet.
You just want to shut the laptop and, like, run out of the room.
Yes, you feel this visceral urge to flee. And I keep wondering about this. Why does changing your mind feel like risking your life? Why does the idea of just, switching your career path cause so much quiet terror?
It is wild when you really think about it because you are having a severe physical panic reaction to what is basically just a blank file on a screen.
Right. Makes no sense.
Well, it is the definition of a mismatched brain response. And this is something I see all the time. People think they are broken or weak because they feel so much anxiety about their work. But underneath the surface of that career choice, your brain is running a very deep survival alarm.
So it literally cannot tell the difference between a real physical threat and a career choice.
Not easily, no. The fear center in your brain does not really separate the abstract thought of, uh-oh, I might lose my steady paycheck from the physical reality of, I am in deep trouble right now.
Wow. So to my brain, updating my resume is basically the same as being chased by a bear in the woods.
Pretty much. I mean, when you think about a massive career change, you are threatening your daily routine. You are threatening your social group. You are threatening your income stream all at once.
And the brain just screams danger.
Exactly. It sends a distress signal,
Right.
which totally explains the sudden bad moods, the racing heart, and, the late night doom scrolling on job sites. Your body is flooded with stress hormones for a danger that isn't really there.
That honestly makes me feel so much better. I mean, so many people hide that anxiety. They think it means they are failing at adult life.
Oh, for sure. They think, I must be weak if I can't even handle a simple career choice. But feeling that friction early on is actually a sign of intense self-awareness. Your brain is giving you useful signals.
The problem is just how we read those signals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this leads to something that totally changed how I see this whole issue. It is the concept of the mismatched brain.
I love this idea so much. Break down what the mismatched brain actually means for someone, say, in their late 20s.
So the front part of your brain is the CEO. It handles long-term planning, weighing out complex choices, and, reading risks. But that part of your brain doesn't actually finish growing and wiring itself until your mid-20s.
Which is crazy to think about.
Right. So basically, if you are 28 right now and you feel a deep pull to change your job, it isn't because you are flaky or you made a huge mistake.
It's because you were living with a choice made by a younger brain.
Exactly. The career you are in right now was chosen by an earlier, way less mature version of your own mind.
It is like being forced to walk around every single day in an outfit you picked out when you were 18.
That is a perfect way to put it.
I mean, you look in the mirror and wonder why the outfit doesn't fit your adult life, or why you feel so weird wearing it to the office. Of course it doesn't fit. You are quite literally a different person now.
But society expects you to just wear that exact same outfit for the next 40 years and just, never complain about it.
Never complain, just keep climbing the ladder. And that brings up a really heavy pressure. Right around the time our brain finally fully matures, we hit this sort of massive wall. You are in your late 20s, and suddenly family pressure, money duties, and career goals all slam into you at the exact same time.
It is a total pressure cooker.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I wonder, how do our daily habits actually make this biological panic even worse? Because I know I reach for coffee when I'm stressed.
Oh, the habits we rely on when we are young heavily clouded our clear thinking. Like, let's talk about sleep for a second. When you lack sleep, it directly hurts that planning center of your brain. It disconnects your logical mind from your fear center.
So your alarm bells are ringing, but there is no one in the control room to turn them off.
That is exactly what happens. Your primitive fear center is firing off signals about your career, and the logical part that is supposed to say, hey, we have some savings, it will be fine, is basically turned off.
So staying up until 2 in the morning stressing about your job, is just guaranteeing you will make a worse choice the next day.
It creates a nasty cycle. You stay up late, you worry more, you sleep less, and then, like you said, we dump caffeine into that cycle.
Yeah, the afternoon coffee run to survive a job you hate.
Right. And when you drink strong coffee late in the day just to push through, you are blocking the signal that tells your brain you are tired, but you are also forcing your body to pump out adrenaline.
The literal run from the bear hormone.
Exactly. So your body gets this massive flood of survival stress.
I can totally see this playing out. I drink a massive iced coffee at 4 in the afternoon. My heart starts racing. My brain looks around the room, sees my open web browser, and says, that must be the threat. The job search is trying to kill us.
I mean, that is functionally what is happening inside you. You trick your own body into feeling like this career choice is highly dangerous, much more dangerous than it actually is.
So how do we break that cycle? Is there a physical fix for that panic?
The fastest fix is just moving your body outside. Taking a brisk 20-minute walk outdoors drops your stress levels enough to bring your logical brain back online.
Just a simple walk.
Yeah, it changes the chemistry in your blood. I mean, it is the reason people always say they get their best life clarity while walking the dog, rather than sitting hunched over a desk staring at a pros and cons list.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so our body is tricking us into a state of panic, and our coffee habit makes it worse. But let's say we step past that alarm system. What does the actual real-world data tell us about the risks of staying in a job you hate versus the risks of leaving?
Leaving feels super scary, I know. But the reality of waiting is mathematically way more dangerous for you.
Really? How so?
The vast majority of people who change paths report that their biggest regret was waiting as long as they did. And looking closely at the numbers, the average person who makes a switch before 30 ends up doing much better long-term than the friend who stayed put out of pure fear.
But wait, why would the person who stays put do worse? I mean, they're the ones building up their status, right? They're getting the yearly raises.
It feels like that should be true, but true career joy and growth aren't tied to your starting pay. They are tied to your daily freedom and your growth path. People stuck in roles that pay well but offer no real growth end up feeling deeply unhappy.
They just feel trapped in a fancy cage.
Exactly. And worse than the cage is a concept where your skills actually start to decay.
Skill decay? That sounds like a harsh penalty.
It is a massive hidden cost. The specific skills and contacts you are building in a field you hate slowly lose their value over time, mostly because you don't care enough to keep them sharp. Or they push you further into a corner you don't even want to be in.
So the longer you stay in the wrong lane, the more your real skills get rusty.
Right. And that makes the eventual change slightly harder with every single year that you put it off.
Wow. So staying put isn't playing it safe at all.
Yeah.
It is actively destroying your ability to change later on.
It is a total illusion of safety. You see this heavily when you look at how people process regret. Across the board, folks are way more likely to deeply regret the paths they never even tried compared to the changes they tried that maybe didn't work out perfectly.
The regret of doing nothing hurts more.
Always. Because your mind will endlessly play a movie of how amazing that unlived life could have been. But the regret of taking action tends to fade because you just adapt to the new normal and move forward.
Okay, I have to jump in here and play devil's advocate because I'm putting myself in the listener's shoes right now.
Go for it.
If I have spent 6 years grinding away in a corporate finance job, and I want to jump over to creative marketing at 28, I am starting at the absolute bottom.
Right, the blank slate.
Yeah. I am throwing away 6 years of networking, bonuses, and late nights. How does that math possibly work out in my favor? It feels like such a huge loss.
That specific worry is the single biggest myth keeping smart people frozen in place. You have to look at the power of time. Making an early pivot actually carries a very low risk, precisely because you are still in your 20s.
Because I have way more time to make up for the lost ground.
Exactly. You have decades of runway ahead of you to grow in the new field. When you look at modern career shifts, the people who pivot before 30 actually reach senior roles in their new fields much faster than those who wait until they are 40 to finally make the jump.
It is exactly like putting money in the bank. The earlier you put your effort into the right account, the one you actually care about, the longer it has to grow.
Yes, that is a flawless way to view it.
Even if you start with a lower balance in that new account, your passion makes the interest rate way higher. It will just mathematically overtake the old, boring account eventually.
Totally. And the secret to a smooth shift isn't about which exact field you pick. It is about whether you took the time to build a structured plan before you made the jump.
Which brings us to the actual steps. If the reality strongly suggests that making a change before 30 is the smartest, lowest risk move, how do you actually do it?
Right, because you can't just flip over your desk on a Tuesday and storm out.
Exactly. We all have rent to pay. We have grocery bills. How do we cross that bridge without trading our career panic for pure financial panic?
The healthiest path is absolutely not quitting on impulse. It is about testing the waters. And the very first step is figuring out the difference between simple boredom and deep mismatch.
How do we figure that out? What is the real difference?
Boredom is just surface level. It means you know how to do your tasks well and your brain is just a little sleepy. You can usually fix that without quitting. You just ask for a new project or you switch teams within the same company.
So the job itself isn't the enemy, you just need a new puzzle to solve.
Right. But a mismatch is deep in the foundation. It is a harsh clash between your core personal values and the daily reality of your work.
But you just fundamentally disagree with what the company does or how people treat each other there.
Exactly. And no amount of shifting your desk or adding ping pong tables in the break room or getting a fancy new job title is going to fix a deep values clash.
Okay, so let's say I look closely and realize it is a deep mismatch. I am just in the wrong field entirely. What is my very next move?
You sit down and check your actual money runway, but you have to separate your real runway from your fear runway.
The fear runway being the panic in my head.
Yes. Vague money fears always feel vastly larger in your mind than the actual facts on paper. You have to sit down, add up your real savings, figure out your absolute bare minimum monthly costs, and build a clear timeline.
It is like looking at the fuel gauge on a plane.
Oh, that is a great image.
Your anxiety is screaming that the engines are going to cut out in 5 minutes, so you refuse to turn the plane. But when you actually tap the glass and run the math, you see you have 6 months of fuel left.
Right. You have plenty of time to turn the plane around safely. Most people find out their fuel tank is way fuller than their panic led them to believe.
So once you have that clear timeline, what comes next?
You introduce the most vital tool in this entire process. You start running small experiments.
Testing the waters before you dive in. What does that actually look like in real life?
It is about getting real daily data to base your choice on, rather than just daydreaming about what the new job might be like. Let's look at this guy, Michael's story, as an example. He was 29, working in tech sales. He was making good money, but felt totally empty inside.
We all know that feeling.
Yeah. Then a family health scare shook up his whole view on life, and he realized he wanted to do creative marketing instead.
But I am guessing he didn't just quit the next day.
No, he was smart about it. He built his runway. He spent 9 months quietly cutting back his spending to build up his savings. And during those 9 months, he used his weekend mornings to run a small experiment.
What did he do?
He managed a tiny digital ad campaign for a friend's side business. He did it totally for free.
Wow. So he was learning the ropes and getting real-time proof on whether he actually enjoyed the daily grind of marketing.
Exactly. And he did it without risking his main paycheck. He was slowly taking the risk out of the leap. He built early proof that he could actually do the work.
So by the time he finally handed in his notice at the sales job, he wasn't jumping into the dark.
Not at all. He had a small portfolio, he had real data, and most importantly, he knew he actually liked the new work. We see this exact pattern everywhere.
Like the teacher who tutors online on the weekends to see if they like the tech world before they leave the classroom?
Yes. None of these people just rage quit. They treat their life change like a gentle science project. They gathered facts. And this is a huge, but even with all those facts, there is this massive social hurdle that holds us back.
You mean the invisible audience?
Yes, the invisible audience. This is huge.
How much of our feeling stuck is really just us being terrified of letting other people down?
A massive portion of it. So much of the career stress in your 20s and 30s comes straight from that unseen crowd. You have to ask yourself, who is actually sitting in the boardroom of your mind?
Who is making the choices?
Right, because a lot of times you aren't making choices based on your own values. You are making choices based on what will look cool to your old college friends on social media, or what will keep your parents from worrying about you.
We just absorb their worries and pretend they are our own, which really ties into the difference between the fear of failing and the fear of succeeding.
Yes. They both look like hesitation on the outside, but the engine driving them is totally different.
Also,
If you are afraid of failing, you just need smaller, safer steps. You need the small weekend experiment. But if you have a fear of success, you are quietly worried about what the change will cost you socially.
Oh, wow. Like, will I lose my friends if I am suddenly working in a totally different world?
Exactly. Will I outgrow my current friend group? Will my parents even understand what my new job title means at Thanksgiving dinner?
That is so real. How do you even handle that talk with your parents? Because if you just walk in and say, hey guys, I am quitting my stable finance job to go find my true passion, they're going to freak out.
Oh, they will panic instantly, and their panic will just trigger your own alarm system all over again. The way around this is framing it as a values-based move rather than just running away.
What does that mean in practice?
If you only complain to your family about what you are running away from, like how much your boss yells or how bad the commute is, they will just hear instability. They will resist the change.
They just see you acting on pure emotion.
Right. But if you explain your move in terms of what you are building toward the steady growth, the alignment with your values, and the clear savings plan you made, the whole tone shifts. A solid plan shows you are being an adult about it. It turns their resistance into cautious support.
Okay, that makes total sense. So let's say someone listening is totally ready. They have checked their savings, they have a small weekend project lined up, they have their talk track ready for their parents. What are the quiet, sneaky mind traps that can still mess them up at the starting line?
There are a few major traps you have to watch out for. The first one is all or nothing thinking.
Treating the choice like it is a movie scene.
Exactly. Thinking it has to be a dramatic leap off a cliff or you just have to stay frozen forever. In reality, the best growth happens on a very messy, slow middle path.
What about the research trap? I know I can get caught in an endless loop of reading blogs and watching videos about a new field, but I never actually do anything.
That is a classic one. Endless planning is really just a mask for hiding. It gives you this fake little burst of joy because you feel like you are working on the problem. But really, you're just avoiding the tiny risk of trying.
Ouch. That hits very close to
Well,
home.
it happens to all of us. And then another big trap is assuming the absolute worst. Imagining that you will be totally broken living on the street without actually looking at your savings data.
And the identity trap, right?
Yeah.
Where your job title is your whole self.
Yes. If you truly believe you fundamentally are an accountant, then changing fields feels like losing yourself. It feels like a threat to your actual existence, rather than just a simple change in how you pay your bills.
So, how do we actively dismantle these traps? What daily habits should we be building right now to keep our brains feeling safe and curious?
There are a few highly specific habits that work wonders. First, just keep a weekly energy log.
Just writing down how you feel.
Yeah, just grab a notebook and jot down the moments at work that give you energy and the moments that drain you dry.
Why does that help so much?
Because mental patterns become visible on paper. If you just leave them swirling around in your memory, they stay muddy.
Like, you might realize the only 30 minutes of your entire 40-hour work week that you actually enjoy is when you are helping the new intern learn the ropes.
Exactly. And that is a massive clue about what you should move toward. Maybe you love teaching or coaching.
What is the next habit?
Schedule 1 hour a week for focused exploring. But here's the major rule. You have to do it in a totally separate physical space, on a different device, away from your normal work.
Wait, why does the physical room matter so much?
Because your brain anchors stress to your surroundings.
Really?
Yeah, if you try to research a cool new path sitting at the exact same desk where you feel your daily misery, your brain mixes the stress of your current job into your dreams for the future.
You basically poison the new idea with the old stress.
That is exactly what happened.
That is a brilliant trick. So take your personal laptop to a cozy coffee shop instead of using your work computer in your cubicle. Protect the dreaming space.
Exactly. Protect that space at all costs. And while you are in that phase, strictly limit your social media use.
Oh, because of the comparison game.
Yes. Constantly comparing your messy, uncertain behind-the-scenes life to someone else's perfectly filtered highlight reel totally warps your view of reality. It makes you think everyone else has it figured out.
Which they absolutely do not.
They do not. And finally, just talk it out loud with someone you trust. Speaking your messy thoughts out loud forces your brain to organize the pieces differently than when you are just quietly overthinking in bed.
Okay, I have one last big question for you. If we do all of this, the energy logs, the weekend projects, the boundary setting, checking the savings,
Yeah.
how long is it going to take until we feel 100% certain that this new path is the right move?
This brings us to the ultimate truth of this entire mindset shift. You will never feel 100% certain before you move.
Really?
Never. Never. Clarity comes after you take action. It never comes before it.
That feels so backwards to how we are taught to live. We want the absolute guarantee before we buy the ticket.
Of course we do. But true certainty is just the result of lived experience. All the insight you are looking for will only show up after you make a small move. The weekend project gives you the early clues, but the deep certainty only arrives once you are already in motion.
So if you wait for total certainty, you just stay frozen forever.
You will wait your entire life.
You don't have to have the whole map drawn out. You just have to take the next tiny step to get a little more light on the path.
Exactly, just one step.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Let's bring it all together. If you are feeling physical panic about changing your path, your mind is not broken. Your internal alarm is just a little confused, trying to protect you from a threat that isn't really there.
Right, it is just your body doing its job a little too well.
But the real-world proof shows that making a gentle, planned shift before you turn 30 is incredibly low risk. You
Yeah.
have all the time in the world to build back up. In fact, doing nothing, staying stuck in a cage out of pure fear and letting your skills slowly fade is the choice you are most likely to deeply regret.
And as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one final thought to gently turn over in your mind this week. When we stress out about losing our hard-earned status or throwing away our past choices, we assume that our history locks us into one permanent road. But what if the job you are so terrified of leaving isn't actually a final destination that you are abandoning?
I love this angle.
What if it is simply the training ground, teaching you the exact tools you need for a beautiful role you haven't even invented for yourself yet?
The skills come with you, even if the job title doesn't.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Geeks Mindset has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same thoughtful way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life, and it helps Geeks Mindset reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button right next to the Geeks Mindset logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Mindset Support Circle. Your support helps honest mindset awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Geeks Mindset moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.